Hola amigos, bien o no, y saludos desde Medellín. Hoy el tema es la frecuencia con nuestra práctica, especialmente con nuestra revisión, y cómo evitar el trampa de Ebbinghaus. Y yo voy a explicar cómo está. So ese es el tema de hoy. So, hello from Medellín. The theme for today is really related to my reflection on my progress recently with improving my Spanish, and the fact that I recognised on some quite honest reflection that I had fallen into Ebbinghaus's trap, if you like, Ebbinghaus's curve of forgetfulness. Ebbinghaus being a scientist whose research looks at how often we need to revise material to keep it in our mind so we don't forget it. Because it's one thing reading something and understanding it well, quite close to the point where you've read it, and then a week later try and recall it or re-explain it, and then find that Ebbinghaus indeed was correct, and nope, can't remember it. So this is the thing to think about, because if we get the repeating frequency a bit misspaced, so we don't do it with the right kind of frequency for us, some of our better efforts, some things that we have practiced before, we can suddenly find we can't remember, because we haven't quite got to the point where the frequency with which we use that vocabulary is enough to keep it in our mind. So we might be okay for that particular occasion where we practiced very hard and we went to that event or we did the presentation, and we remembered it then and it was okay. And now we're like a month later and that kind of thing's coming around again, and surprising or unsurprisingly perhaps, we can't remember it as well as we did before. And we're thinking, why? Well, Ebbinghaus looked at this, and that's really the thing. Our mind doesn't work quite as well as we would hope in that way. We have to go back and do some more revision. It doesn't mean you need to do this every day, though. Clearly the studies seem to show that once you revise it the first time, maybe going back like the next day, and then maybe a week later, and then maybe a month later, and keeping it at that kind of frequency should be enough for you to retain the thing that you're trying to remember. I think in my case, some of the dialogue I practiced I was very happy with. I thought, great, I've got this. So I neglected to do the month round revision bit, and that was my mistake. So now when I come back to revisit that dialogue again, I found the other day, like, no, this is not coming back to me at all. At least not in the way that I'd hoped. Now, some of the vocabulary sticks, this is true. So in that sense, all the reading and all the listening I'm doing still helps a lot, because that's keeping me current with general vocabulary. It means I'm not lost in the conversation. I know what we're talking about. It's just that I'm doing a very bad actor's job, if you like, of remembering my lines when it's my turn to speak, because I haven't practiced them with the frequency I need so that I can remember them. So I'm in that awful position of, I know what's going on, I know what we're talking about, but I can't quite remember how I should phrase the thing I want to say. So I end up saying it in a bit of a scrambled way, which I can probably get my message across, but it's not as fluid as it could be. Because a month ago when I practiced this, it was. So that's the thing for today. Have a think about that. Look at when you have done your revision of something, you think, oh, that's good, I've got this. Remember Ebbinghaus. Go back, have another practice in another week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, just to make sure that you've got it. Because if this is not dialogue you use every day, sadly, it's not going to be there when you need it. That's the thought for today. Ok, so déjame saber en los comentarios, como siempre. But for now, from Medellin, on another, thankfully slightly cooler evening today, also cheerio.